Hey guys, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes. I don't expect anybody to be on. It's Tuesday morning at almost 10 o'clock in the morning. Though it's a very dreary day, kind of. Not super dreary, but dreary enough. Hey Jan. Oh, you'll understand this one, Jan. Alright, so don't mind how I look. I'm dealing with some hardships right now. Sorry, I wasn't gonna cry on alive, but okay. Whew. Okay, so yesterday at 1 o'clock in the morning, we had to take my grandfather to the hospital. So, hi Alan. We found out that my grandfather has what is considered a heart blockage number 3. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are nurses or anything like that, but what that basically means is that the electricness of his heart that causes his heart, hey Chuck, that causes his heart to function, the top part is not coinsyncing with the bottom part. So usually in these cases, you have to put a pacemaker in. So mom and I, my grandmother and I, and if you know me and you know my history, my grandfather was basically treated me like my father. He adopted me when I was young, so this is very hard on me and my family. We went into the hospital we were there yesterday I still have my hospital's tag on, from 1 o'clock in the morning until 11 p.m. 11 a.m. So we were there for quite a long time waiting for tests and things. My older brother's the health proxy, so he's still waiting on a test. But basically the gist is he's so old that possibly a pacemaker would not do very good. But we were all thinking, okay, well, we might as well do the pacemaker thing, help him out a little bit. But now we found out that because his blood pressure was the lower number, I don't know what the lower, hey Rebecca, I don't know what the lower one means, but it is basically stayed at between 44 to 39 for the last year. And everybody, hey Fear, everybody, we all kind of knew that was his normal, but we didn't think anything of it because the doctors didn't say anything and he wasn't saying that he was in pain or anything. So what's going on is his kidneys are very bad because they have not gotten the blood flow to where they need to be. So even putting him on a pacemaker would not necessarily give him the quality of life that he needs, because if it wasn't for the kidneys, I think it would be better, because right now the where he's at, his blood pressure is so low that if he tries to stand up or anything, he faints, which is what happened when we first took him in. And the fact that there's no blood flow to anything else, really, or very little blood flow, the other organs are kind of shutting down. He is 90. Don't mind the kids in the back. There's, hey Vicky, there's a thing going on for the high school that they're doing their track because it's starting to get, hey Charlotte. But anyways, so putting the pacemaker in for him would only prolong the inevitable. And a year ago when he was of sound mind, because he's still got some dementia, and this trip to the hospital made it way worse, which I feel bad about, but, so we think that, and a year ago he didn't want it. He was of sound mind, he didn't want a pacemaker and stuff, so we have to kind of validate that and do his wishes. So what's been going on in our minds is probably what's happening. I mean, my brother still got to deal with, we still got to get the cardio echiogram results back, and then we'll go from there. But right now, the way it's looking, it looks like he's going to have to be put in a nursing home and then be put on hospice, because without the pacemaker, he can't stand up because he will faint constantly. So it's very hard, and thank you, Rebecca. You never know this stuff happens until it happens. I mean, we know he's gonna be 95 on September 20th. So I mean, he's lived a long life. Hey Nicole. Hi Eric. I'm just updating everybody on the news. of Grant. So basically, we're gonna try to find a nursing home that's gonna be nice enough for him, you know, and close enough stuff. It was very hard being in the hospital because he kept, you know, thinking that he was at home, and he kept trying to get up out of the hospital bed, and we had to put mitts on his hands because he kept trying to take things out, and it was very hard to deal with. Very hard. I know a lot of my family probably wouldn't agree with me putting this on Facebook, but this is what I feel that I need to do. But hey, Patty. So basically, that's where we are. Thank you, Nicole. I mean, granted, he's old, and you know, he's lived his life, which I'm very happy about. You know, it's about time. We don't want him suffering. And that's the biggest, greatest thing, you know. So there's gonna be a lot of changes here, and it's just, don't mind me if I'm kind of like out of it a little on here. Dan and I are trying to do the best we can, doing what we can, because, you know, life goes on, you gotta keep plugging along. But like, so that's basically what's going on. Like I said, we're still waiting on the echocardiogram, but with him gone here today, it's just very surreal because Mom used to always put on the TV for him, and it was always loud because she can't hear, so it was like at 100%. Hey, Eden. So without him being here, yeah, Eric, I agree. We just hope that, you know, the best thing for him right now is so that he doesn't suffer, and sadly to say, we hope that he goes peacefully to sleep before any of this other stuff has to happen, because I think that would be the best for him. It would be basically the hardest for us, but at least that way we don't have to, like, he goes on his own terms, and, you know, he does have the DNR and the, you know, other stuff. It was hard yesterday in the hospital trying to see him try to get up and stuff. And dude, he is so strong for an old man. Yeah, don't get tough. But anyways, yeah, sorry. It's very surreal and quiet over here. Mom is in the back room. I mean, she married him when she was 16. You know, and they're just coming up on their 72nd wedding anniversary, I think. In the middle of September. So, yeah, that was a lot too. So it's a little crazy here. So that's the update of what's going on. Like I said, I'm still waiting. We're still waiting on the, information from my older brother on what to do next. But, we're trying to find, different avenues, and it's all trying to like sink in. Heard a song this morning and it kind of triggered me. That's why my eyes are kind of red. But, so that's what I'm doing, for that. But I just wanted to also hop on here also for the people who do my essential oils and who know about my essential oils. The thing that got me through yesterday, I normally have my oils with me all the time, but because it was so immediate, I didn't have them with me. Luckily, I had my little sample of rose oil in my pocket from the other day when I was walking uptown for the car show. And of course, this happens like right when you know, I start my new job on Wednesday, so it's kind of like, but Eric, it was broken wings this morning. Mom had it. They have an alarm when they wake up, and that triggered me too. And so it was playing like they normally do when they wake up to it, and it was Broken Wings by Biggest Journey. I think. I don't know. I can't remember right now. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But take these broken wings and learn to fly again. That's the one that triggered me. Because it was one of my mother's favorite songs too. Bonnie's favorite song, Eric. And so, hey Michelle, or Michael, wow, see? Haha. So yeah, so our family's dealing with that kind of a little bit. Hey, Patty. For those of you who haven't really begun in the beginning, I'm just updating everybody on what's going on with my grandfather. Hey, Mrs. Penfold. But if y'all know me and y'all know my family, my grandfather's lived a very long life, so now it's kind of more like making it so that, you know, with his heart conditions, no, it wasn't George Michael. Eric. That's Faith. That's the other one. But yeah, my grandfather is having issues with his heart. Oh, father figure triggered you? Yeah. Well, yeah, that would make sense, because he was a father figure for us. And, anyways, but, for those of you who are nurses or whoever that are on here, my grandfather's got a recap. He's got a heart block number 3, which you guys would know if you're nurses and stuff. So, and he's got kidney issues, which are kind of on borderline of kidney failure. So we got to try to find a place for him, and he's I don't know how long he's got. So we're still waiting on that. But yeah, it's kind of upsetting. And when I was in the hospital, I had to step out of the room a couple times. Hey, Caroline. Hey, girl. Yeah, Caroline, we're gonna have to put my grandfather in a nursing home, I think. You can catch the beginning of it, but basically, like I said a couple seconds ago, he's got a block number 3, heart block number 3, in the his heart top part's beating separately from the bottom part, and it's for the last year, and we didn't even know anything about it. And his the blood wasn't getting to his organs the way it should have. Thank you. And it's funny because he never told us he was in pain. He never said anything. He is a very private kind of person. He doesn't really let us in on a lot of stuff. So he'll just the last year he sits there and we're like, "Are you hungry?" He's like, "No." "You hungry?" "No." "You want to do this?" "No." First thing out of his mouth, "No." So that's kind of funny. But yeah, so that's a lot of what we're dealing with. So I just also came on here. I woke up with a severe migraine this morning. And then I had to put I took Excedrin. Abnormality. Yeah, there's like a lot of weird things going on. And then I put Cool Azul on my things because it works a lot faster than my migraine medicine. So that helps me. Thank you, Patty. I know the Holly family's gotten hit a couple times now with different things, but yeah. And I've also noticed sleep chair TV. I know, and I was gonna play my video game last night to release, and if you guys know, probably a bunch of you don't, because a lot of you. Hey, Dina. A lot of you probably don't know gaming, but in order to deal with my stress and relieve my stress, I was going to do some play Skyrim on my PlayStation and kill some Draugrs, which are like dead Viking people, but I didn't even feel like that. I went to bed. Took a shower, usually my shower. Yeah, Jan. But yeah, I mean, I basically had a panic attack in the hospital. I had to step out of the hospital room. Like, Dan had left because he had to go get sleep because I feel sorry for him too. Well, it's hard for him because he's on call constantly with the company that he's with he does tow trucks. And he's the only one that can make any decisions because my aunt, who's in Idaho, can't do that either. Well, she can, but she's in Idaho, so she's not here. And Dan and her are the only ones on the health proxy. So when we were waiting for the cardiologist to come in to figure out what the next phase is of the plan, hey Sharon, basically, I know, Caroline, I know if you were up here, I'd hug you too. Basically, I only had rose oil. I was literally gonna, because you know, if you've had a panic attack, you know, like all of a sudden you start getting the gag reflex, you start getting nauseous and dizzy, and I'm like, anybody that knows me, I will not throw up. Will not. Absolutely not. Because it's part of a childhood trauma thing. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know if any of you if you ever watched Dirty Jobs, but the guy on Dirty Jobs did an episode where he was doing like a cop thing, and he was dealing with all these pigs that were basically the humans that are dying or decayed bodies or something, and they were all like yuck inside and stuff. So they told him, the coroner people told him to smile like this all the time and talk like this so that you would stop your gag reflex. So it would stop the gag reflex. And so I was doing that, and it actually was helping. But it wasn't, because I kept being in the situation. I couldn't take myself out of the situation, obviously. I also luckily had rose oil, this little sample that Amanda gave me that I was talking about on my live yesterday. And it's basically this little rose oil. I mean, there's a pound of rose that goes into this essential oil. And I put this roll on. It's also mixed with carrier oil, so it's not fully all that. But I rubbed it on the bottom of my feet because I'm like, I need to get this as soon as I can. Hey, Jamie. Into my system to stop my gag reflex and to calm me down, because I didn't have my stress away. Now, normally in situations like this, I do my stress away roll on, but like I said, or my Rudavella to calm me down hardcore. But of course I didn't have them with me because we had to jump in the car and go to the hospital real quick. So luckily the universe had me have that in my pocket, which was really good. And it did. And I put it definitely on my earlobes, which I figured, I didn't even know, was a healing. Yeah, see, Eric, you actually had to, you would not have been able to take it there, Eric, because you're more emotional than most of us, because Dan and I actually have to shut it down in order to function. Sometimes when you do this, you have to shut it down. That's why Dan told you it's probably not a good idea to go there, because sadly enough, Gramp only calmed down when they were going to transport him to a test, and Mom and I were out of the room. Because he kept acting like, with his dementia, he didn't know where he was. And he kept acting like he had to get up to go to the bed. And he couldn't sleep. And he was up for like 6 hours. And we were trying to have him at least calm down or put him on something. And then he ended up having bloody stool for a little bit there. And it was really hard to see. It was very, very hard to see. And Caroline, I think you understand this with your mother and what you had to go through with her and what you're going through currently with her. Gramp, unfortunately, is not that far, but I think that's going to happen real fast. Because the moment we put him in a nursing home and he's not seeing Mom or something, he shuts down. Because when Mom went to the hospital a year ago now, and she was in rehab, he didn't eat. He shut down. He basically lives for her. And so this will trigger a downward spiral, hardcore. She's stronger. She can live on her own. Well, he might, Eric. I don't know, because right now we have no idea, but if he does, he can't, like, okay, so the thing is, hey, Christy, sorry, he can't get up out of a wheelchair. Okay, so if we don't put the pacemaker in, he can't stand up, and so he will faint constantly, because the blood pressure, when we stand up, our blood pressure changes so that our body can adjust when we stand up. Because it's like going from a low plane to a high plane. So basically, his blood pressure is so low that so I don't know the specifics of it because I'm not a nurse. I don't know anything about that. But basically, he'll have to be, without this pacemaker, he'll have to be sitting down all the time. So that means he'll be in a wheelchair all the time. And then if he sees us, he's going to want to get up and stuff, which is going to cause more problems. So I don't know. We don't know from here on what's going to happen. I mean, first of all, if he understands, he might know that he can't come back home. And that might trigger something. Kind of like, Eric, how Carlton was with Ellen, when Ellen went to go see him in the Aurora nursing home thing, and he basically was, I want to go home, why can't I go home? And the nurses there, or whoever it was taking care of him, signed it off that Ellen couldn't because she doesn't have the people here at her house to help deal with him, 24-hour nursing or whatever. That's how it is with us. There's no way he can come here. We do not have the necessary things to have him here to have a good quality of life. Mom sure as heck can't handle that. I mean, she's got stents in her own heart. I'm surprised she's still where she is, which I'm very thankful for, but this might actually cause her to go into a tailspin too, because last night was the first night after so many years basically without her, health issues, that she spent sleeping in a bed without him for basically, like I said, they got married at 16 for the last, almost 72 years of their marriage. Hi, Mrs. D'Amato. So, Mom's stronger than Grandpa is, so she was last night saying, okay, I should be the one to go first, you know, things like that. But we all said, Mom, you're stronger. If you went first, Grandpa would go right away. But she's dealt with a lot too, with all the, you know, death in her life. So this is just kind of what we're hoping for is a quick, you know, passing for him, for my grandfather. Because the last thing we need is him to be suffering, because if he's somewhat, cognizant, he'll know that he can't come home, and that will trigger other things, I believe. So the rest of us basically believe that the best thing for Gramp is to, hi darling, is to go peacefully in his sleep if he's in the hospital or even there, because the moment he gets into a nursing home and knows he can't come home, he's just gonna give up, because he knows he can't be with Mom, and like I said, Mom is everything to him. So that's what we're hoping for. It's gonna be very hard these next couple months and going forward. I'm gonna have to put up a lot of walls so I can at least function day to day, because I still need to. Wow. There's, oh, okay, no, never mind. the comments are coming up, and there's a line right by my face, so it looked like there was something coming in. But yeah, so there's crazy stuff going on. We have to shuffle our lives around. Hi, thank you, darling. Yes. But like everybody, I mean, he will be 95 on September 20th. The hard thing is just the fact that he still has some of his cognizance, or his, you know, mind. So it's kind of harder. Now in the hospital, he didn't really, like I said, he didn't know, and it looked like he had a stroke, but, they said he didn't. It was just his heart rhythms were all messed up. But I don't know. Like I said, we're still waiting on the echocardiogram to figure out what actually happened. But yeah, if he's in there and he knows where he is, he'll shut down. I mean, it was the hardest thing for Mom and I to leave. But like I said before, because I'm jumping all over the place, he calmed down when we weren't there. It's almost like he kind of gave up, because he's like, oh, they left. And it's very hard because we didn't really leave, and we don't want to, I mean, that's us putting that on. But when we were there, he was all thrashing around, trying to move from side to side, trying to get up, trying to pull the things out of his hands and stuff. Thought that he was at home with the cats on the bed. He kept grabbing at air for nothing. So it was very hard to deal with. I didn't know what to do. Oh, hey, Adam. So a lot of, I don't know what caused, I mean, granted, like I said, he's going to be 95. So like I said, he went to Europe, he lived a good life, he was in the Army for a little bit, he, you know, worked at National Fuel, he's got that whole thing, he had his farm, we went up there, my uncle had the house or whatever, so he's actually had a very long and fruitful life. So it's just, as a transition time, it's just kind of hard to adjust to it. And I keep having to check myself, you know. But I'm definitely using all my essential oils. Thank you. And hold on, let me see if you guys can see these. These are all my essential oils and oil things. Oh, and my ginger snaps, which I'm not supposed to be eating because of wheat, but I don't care right now. Oh, and someone's calling. That's all the stuff that I've been using to keep me at least sane. Like I said, when I was in hospital having an issue and panic attack, I had the rose oil, and that did help me. But like this morning, I woke up with a major headache, and I used Cool Azul pain cream for it because my migraine medicine doesn't work fast enough. And I've been using Raven to help me breathe and things like that. Thank you, Caroline, for sure. Oh, I can't hit the button to see more. But I'll be definitely, like, the way I cope with stuff, I take showers. And then I go out in nature. I take nature walks. And then I listen to music, to release. And then I play video games. So we also have to realize when we're going through these tough times, we have to take time out for ourselves. And tensions are going to be high because there's different people with different opinions, and then there's always going to be the what if game. What if I did this? What if I did this? If I did this, he would have lived longer, you know, whatever. But you got to keep remembering, what does the person want? I mean, the girl in the ICU last night was saying, we advocate for the patient, not necessarily for what the family member wants. Because a year ago, he said he was of sound mind. He said he did not want a pacemaker in. Because my brother was there. I just came back to the house June. And that's another thing. I mean, I think this is the reason why I had to move back in. And this is why, you know, the universe, you know, sent this. Yeah, see, Eric, for you, that's great. Just as long as you don't, like, freak out. Because your health issues are freaking a problem, too. And we don't want you having a problem. And then Dan, with his energy drinks, I was talking to him. And he goes, oh, well, I'll just have a heart attack in the next couple, you know, weeks or whatever. And I'm like, don't say that. You know, but that's the way he was coping with it. Because he's got a bunch of other crap going on, too. And he's going to have another kid. The third baby for him and his family's due in November. Right before Thanksgiving. So there's a lot going around everywhere right now. And it's just... It's kind of interesting because I said earlier that October was going to be a good month, and then I was all like, I felt really good about it, which I still kind of do, but now with this, it's just like how when you get depressed and sad that it overlies the other, but I know the other's there. I just gotta, with my spiritual teachings, you just have to let it go and release it, you know, so it doesn't pent up, because over the years, I was always not cool with my emotions. I was in touch, but I was suppressing, which then causes health issues, and we don't want that. So I'm now learning to release it with natural means, because I'm so sensitive, I can't do other stuff, and it's not healthy to do other stuff anyways. Believe me, yesterday I wanted to go to the bar and drink, and that's not usually me. Because I'm like, it's just, I can't function, and I totally understand why people do that. So there's a lot of that, but I also have to, you know, normal people be like, yeah, channel it, Eric. Like, normal people be like, oh my God, you know, this is happening, I can't go to my job, I'm going to take off. Like Dan's all like, okay, he has to do this because he has to take off, but we also can't just stop and bury our heads in the sand, because I need to make a living, I need to, you know, work my essential oil business. I need to do my part-time job now at Sherwin-Williams more than ever, because I don't know what's going to happen with my grandmother, and they're the ones that own this house, so who knows what's going to happen in the future. So I have to also not have it consume me to the point where a couple months down the line, everything is gone, and I'm like stuck, like, whoa, I don't know what to do. So we also have to kind of, I don't know, work at it or something, I don't know. But so there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I've been using my release oil, I've been using my deep relief, because then all of a sudden you get like muscle pain randomly, and I gotta also remember, even though like when you get to this point and you're kind of mourning and stuff, you don't want to eat, but I also have to remember I still have to do daily tasks, and I still have to function, so I still have to eat somewhat, so I don't, you know, want to stop eating, because then that's not good for your health either. So it's just a lot to take in, and I think the more I talk about it and the more I'm out here and explaining it, the more, you know, it helps. It makes it more real, but it also wraps your head around it so that it's not so, you know, smack in the face, and then you're like, oh, you have to deal with it. You know, it's just more of a gradual, yeah, I don't know. But like I said, it's only the second day, and there'll be a lot more triggers coming, I know it. Like today when I was in the kitchen, or in the living room where he sits in his chair, last night I had, like, the cat, like, he's got this leather chair that he sits in, and I didn't want the cat to scratch it, so I put a blanket in it, and I'm like, oh, he's not going to be sitting in this chair anymore. This was the chair we got for him. Or, you know, things like that you normally do that stuff. But the cat loves it now, so it's kind of like, oh, now it's the cat's chair. Orangey fat cat. And then, like, today when I was doing the paper, we get the paper because it was good for him to read and stuff. And, you know, it's things that you're gonna see day to day. And you're gonna get more used to it, but it will never, like I said, whenever you mourn somebody, it never goes away completely. It never will. You just get, quote unquote, used to it. But the way I go and the way my spirituality is, you also have to see the other side of it. Like, you put yourself in the other person's, thank you, Jamie, shoes. So if I was in that situation, which everybody's so hard to do at the time that the thing's coming, because you're like, no, I want them to live, because you're thinking only, like, I'm going to miss this person if they go. Hey, Chelsea. Basically, when you're going through the mourning process, you're going through stages of, you know, I want this person to stay here for me. But what you have to do is you have to turn it around and be like, if I was in that situation, what would I want them to do for me, you know? So for Gramp and the fact that he's got heart block number 3, which, like I said, for those of you who are just joining, yeah, Eric, you're still mourning mom. Which we're jumping on now, basically is the top part of his heart is not beating at the same rate as the bottom heart. So the electroness is not working, and he should be having a pacemaker in, but because he's almost 95 in September 20th, and now that he's got kidney issues, because apparently his low blood pressure is anywhere between 44 to 39, the lower end of it, like so-and-so over whatever. Like I said, I'm not a medical thing, so I don't know much about this. That has been baseline 44 for about a year now. I know, Chelsea, it happens. I mean, you had to deal with something recently too. I saw that too. But like I said, I was showing everybody the oils that I was using to deal with the pain and sadness. But yeah, so it's more like, where do we place him? Because now with the kidney issues, he can't have a pacemaker put in. Whoa. It's getting windy out here and my umbrella is switching. Where do we go from there? Because I know when he's going to go into the nursing home, he's going to deteriorate. He is kind of still of sound mind, so it's kind of hard, because if he knows he can't come home, he's just going to shut down. And it won't be long before he actually passes. But without the pacemaker, he's going to have to sit down in a wheelchair constantly, because he's going to constantly be fainting, because the blood pressure is so low. So his quality of life is not going to be good. So if we ended up putting the pacemaker in, hey Danielle, if you put the pacemaker in, it just wouldn't, it would prolong his life. It wouldn't give him the quality of life necessarily that he would want. And like I said, last year when he was sound mind, he didn't want it anyway. So just kind of going in that direction, we got to try to basically put him somewhere where he's going to be, you know, not in pain and not suffering, and then just kind of hospice type stuff going forward, and then deal with whatever comes as it comes. So I'm going to be stocking up on my essential oils lately, guys. Those are lifesavers. Another reason why I'm so glad I got my kit a couple years ago. If I didn't have my kit a couple years ago and I just stopped doing my oils, I don't know how I would have made it through yesterday. And I was almost, without the rose oil, I think I would have been sick. Literally, I think I would have been thrown up all over the hospital floor, and I would have had more issues. So, thank you, Amanda, for sending me that sample of rose oil. That's a godsend. And so, this is where we're at right now. We have a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to plan. Like I said, my older brother is the one that's the proxy, so he's got a lot on his plate. But like I said, I'm here too, but I start my new job on Wednesday, so I can't just not be there, because like I said, depending on how it goes in the future. That's why I'm also working the Young Living business for my oils, because that way, sorry, there's a woodpecker that's, I've never seen a woodpecker with a full red ass head. That's funny. I want that to be able to, like, when I get the business going, that's where you can have residual income. And that's where you can actually take off time if your family members get sick and still have income coming in. So that's what I'm trying to build up with my essential oil business. Getting that going so I don't have to miss work and be like, oh, well, you don't get a paycheck this week. So that's also kind of on the plate there too. So there's a lot of things happening. A lot of new things coming into the circle. I will definitely keep you guys updated. Ooh, bird almost just flew in my face. Hi, birdie. They're juncos. They're very friendly birds. So, like I said, I'm gonna get off, but I'll do another video later about exactly what oils I'm using to deal with what I'm dealing with. And if you want to see that, I'll put that in my essential oil education group. So if you're into essential oils, hey Judy, Judy, catch the replay. It's all about Gramp had to be in the hospital last night. Basically, he's not going to be able to come home because he's got a heart blockage and he's got kidney issues and he's going to have to be put in a nursing home, and then hospice. So, and then I don't know how it's going to go with mom. So, depending on how that goes within the year, I don't know. So, anyways, there you go. That's the update for you, Judy. So, yeah, so, hey, Dave. It's a challenge, and it will be a challenge, but like I said, we don't always want to just put up the walls either and just go through life, because like I said, if you suffer through that and you don't grieve, hey Dave, basically, hi Tanya, it's going to cause more health problems for you in the long run. So I always did that. I always just shut it down. Dave, Gramps gonna have to be put in a nursing home because he went in the hospital last night and had a heart block number 3, which is when your top part of the heart doesn't coexist with the bottom electric things, and basically he needs to be put on a pacemaker, but because he's got kidney issues now, he can't, basically, and it would only prolong his suffering. Hey Vanessa. And then basically, so what we're doing is he can't stand up if he doesn't have the pacemaker because he'll constantly be fainting. We figured this has been happening for about a year now with his low blood pressure. He never said anything. He never said he was in pain or anything like that. Very private person. So now this is just kind of like coming out of the woodwork, and we're like, whoa. So the next step is basically getting him settled somewhere where he can have 24-round care in a nursing home, and then if need be hospice right next to it. So and then who knows what else is going to happen with mom if that's the case. Like I said, mom's stronger than Grandpa is. She can actually, she's an Aries. She's very tough, very strong-willed headed woman. So she'll probably just keep going. I mean, like I said, my grandparents have lived through the passing of 3 of their 4 children. So they're familiar with grief and passing and death and things. So I don't know if this will be the straw that breaks my grandmother's proverbial camel's back. But like I said, it's going to be day by day, week by week, month by month. But yeah, so this is what's going on, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, tough one. But I'll just make sure I have all my oils and have my areas to release, walking in nature, gaming, and friends to talk to and things, and baths. So yeah, who knows what winter will bring, because mom might just shut down. I don't know, but we can't play the what if game because we just got to go by day, and so yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna get off, and like I said, I'll update you guys if you're into the essential oils and you want to know what I've been doing to stay sane. Like I said, yesterday I was having a panic attack, and I had the little sample of rose oil in my pocket, and I rubbed it on my feet. Oh, hell no, Dave. Hell no. Dan kind of wanted them to, but I'm like, no. You get put in the East Aurora frickin' nursing home at Absolute Care, and it's shit. And I'm going to be real with people. That place sucks. It should be shut down. It is either that or completely redone. Absolute in general, I don't know much about. The Orchard Park one I've heard is better, but the East Aurora one's shit. We had people in there that basically they took out a friend of the family's, her husband fell, broke his hip, was in there. Yeah, and they took out all of his teeth without her knowing, and he fell out of bed, broke something else, because they weren't watching him. And another friend of mine, his friend, fell out of the bed too, because they said that if you put bars on it or some stupid thing, that it's called elderly abuse or something. They couldn't do that, and who knows. So yeah, and then you just sit there. I mean, Mom was there for rehab, and they hardly ever saw her. She ended up getting bronchitis from being in there for rehab, and I brought my essential oils, hey Jackie, to help her out, and that's the only thing that basically helped him. They always have the heat super high, and I had to go in there and actually bitch to them and actually yell, and y'all know me, I don't get that way unless I'm pushed to my limit. Yeah, I feel sorry for the people that are in there. I mean, most of the people don't get visited. I would not recommend at all Absolute Care in East Aurora. If you guys have elderly, do not put them there. Do not. It's a death sentence. I'm telling you guys. I get financial issues, and I get where people are coming from. Like, they only have a certain amount of money, and so that's the only option they have. But please, guys, do something else. It's a slow and a fast death. So we're thinking more or less Dave Fox, Father Baker in Orchard Park, or even what you said, Eric, where Jean was, which over there by French Road. I don't know what that one is, or something like that. But like I said, nothing's actually set in stone, and we have to figure out finances. We haven't even thought about that because, you know, nursing homes are not cheap, and we still have to have the house, you know, because if both of them went in, then we'd have to sell the house, deal with like the estate and then stuff. But usually, from what I heard at my other work for a friend of mine who was talking, who knows more about the estate stuff and state stuff, she said usually when you put them in there and the money runs out, they become a ward of the state. So that's where the money goes, and that's why people still stay in there. But when they're wards of the state and the money's not coming in, the attentiveness in some of these places ends up going down because they're like, oh, well, nobody cares, the family's not coming in, whatever, why should we care? Which is sad. It's super sad. And actually just the news came out 3 days ago with a new thing about the ratings on nursing homes in New York State. And around here, we've got the worst. Absolute worst. Unless they're privately owned and set up by grants and things. So it depends on what you go. But yeah, Dan wanted to see East Aurora because he was thinking it's easier for us to get there and back and forth, especially with Mom being here and her limited ability in getting out, which is a good idea. But since it's the way it is, I would not. I'd be like, no, I'll freaking take Mom in the car and we'll go somewhere else if need be. Yeah. I haven't seen it. If you can find it, send it to me, Dave, because I'd like to look it up. And I know a couple years ago they did one, and Absolute Care was 1 star. That's why when Mom was in there, it was terrible, because then we went to Father Baker because she ended up having, she fell, broke her ribs. I think 4 of them. Not last year, but the year before, in January. She was there right before my birthday. She got out of the hospital, went into Absolute Care. She came home for a day because they discharged her from the hospital. Went back in on my birthday, January 26th. It's craziness. And then she went to Absolute Care. At Absolute Care, she ended up getting bronchitis after they left there. She had to be put on medicine. I brought my Thieves essential oil in there, and it's the only thing that helped her out because it killed all the bacteria and crap. I know it's not complaint, I'm sorry. And they had it so hot in Absolute Care. It was like 72, which breeds, anybody else knows, heat also breeds bacteria, you know, and stuff like that. So I was opening her window a lot, and the other girl that was helping her in the room were like, oh my gosh, this is really good. To have the airflow in here but nobody else knows. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I don't care what you said. Because there's no policy against us bringing in stuff for them, you know. And everybody loved the way it smelled. They loved, no, bee, go away. I know, I have cookies out here, and you're not going to go and eat my cookies. Have little gingerbread cookies. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Getting ready for the fall season. And everybody loved it. Like, and I think that end of the hallway, all the residents were getting better. You know, so that was a case in point for the Thieves essential oil, too. But basically, after she got out of there, and she was able to heal herself from having pneumonia, because she ended up getting pneumonia in there because everything's flying around, there's everything, you know, nothing was, you know, dealt with, and the heat. She went over to Father Baker, and Father Baker was more attentive. She said the food sucked more or less. Absolutely had better food but less attentiveness. Father Baker had more attentive but less food. So I was like, Mom, you either take the attentive or the food. You can't have both. And I liked it better, but Father Baker was more or less 4.5 to 5 stars, which was really good. So that's the only one I know around here. I don't know much of anything else, but Dave, can you please send me that when you get a free moment? Because I'd like to look that up. Because I think Dan would actually appreciate that too, so we could look up. And I know my Aunt Idaho, she'd like to know more about, because we all want to make sure that he's going to be dealt with in a humane and not decent, you know, he's got the privacy he needs and things like that, manner. But anyway, that's what's going on. I'm gonna get off, and I need to eat something, at least a little something. I got a croissant yesterday from the restaurant, and yeah, I gotta deal with some stuff and process some emotions and see what Mom's doing, because she's up now, so see how she's doing. So anyway, that's what's going on. Hey Eric, catch the replay. It's just basically about what's going on in my life, the fact that my grandfather's gonna have to be put in a nursing home, and I'm kind of dealing with that kind of situation. So I mean, like I said, it's the way it is. Life, you know, comes at you. He lived a long life. Get off my freaking thing. And that's where we're going. I will make sure to keep everybody else updated with what we find out. Like I said, I didn't post yesterday because we wanted to make sure of it, and I was in, you know, distress, and I went to sleep at like 9 o'clock last night because I was up a lot. So yeah, a lot of change is going to be happening in a row. So I'm going to try to keep my vibrations high, because when you're in the low vibrations, negativity and negative things seem to keep going. So we always, when we get this way, we want to grieve, but we don't want to be there too long, because we also want to raise our vibrations so that we bring in the positive, and we have the best situations going forward as much as we can. So that's the kind of balance. Yeah, actually, Eric, I called Dad last night and informed him. I don't think Rusty knows though. But like I said, we don't really want anybody visiting him right now, because it would probably trigger him going, oh, I gotta get up and gotta go home, even though he's not really processing where he is and things. Like, if he was of sound mind, like I'm talking to you right now, and he's like, okay, I have to be here to get healthy, that'd be one thing, he could see visitors. But because he's fighting it and he's not, you know, coherent enough to understand. Hey, Janice. Hey, Catherine. Guys who are hopping on right now, catch the replay. It's basically information about my grandfather. His health is failing, and he went to the hospital last night, and he's probably gonna have to be put in nursing home and then hospice care. So the details are further in the thing. Catch the replay for more information on that. It's basically what I'm dealing with that stuff. But like I said, we still have to do some plans. We're still waiting on the echocardiogram to figure out what's going on. But yeah, we're not gonna, we come to the conclusion we're not gonna put a pacemaker in, because it's not gonna help him really that much. It'll prolong his suffering. Hey, Gabe. Yeah, that was a leaf. And it's just, it's a sad situation. Like I said, when the calmest he was yesterday was when there was a transport that was going to take him to a test, and Mom and I had to be in the waiting room. And he didn't know that we were there, and then he just calmed down. Right now, according to what they had last night, what my brother said when he left, they have him on medication to calm him down, which is really sad that he has to be doing that. Hey, Christina. So he's so distraught, but it's heartbreaking to know that the only time he could calm down was when we weren't there, because Mom and I want to be there for him, and we want to show him that we're supporting him and that we're there. And like, in our heads, even though it's kind of irrational, we're thinking, oh, he's going to think that we're abandoning him. But I know, I have to keep reminding myself, because of my spirituality and stuff, I know soul-wise that he knows that we're there, and he knows we're doing the best for him. Because if he was in his sound mind, we would go in there and he'd be like, okay, yeah, go home, get rest, you know, come back tomorrow and we'll talk about what's going on, like when my mom was in the hospital. But he's not. Yeah, thank you, Caroline. All right, see you later, girl. I'll talk to you later. But basically, because he's not of sound mind and his Alzheimer's is kicking in high craziness right now, he keeps trying to get up. We had to put mittens on him so that he wouldn't pull out all the tubes and things. He's got kidney issues, and it's just, his life is deteriorating. And we didn't even know anything about this. We didn't know how bad it was. I just moved back in here, and he wasn't saying anything about being in pain or anything, so it's kind of like a shocker for all of us. And my grandma's going with the what if, and I'm like, Mom, you can't do that. But like I said, it's hard because your mind keeps going, oh, you know, I'm not there, I'm not supporting, because the way that we're trained in life and the irrational thoughts that we have, when we have to keep going, you know, we saw it. We saw how he was calm and he understood things when we weren't there. Like when I was in the room and the girl was trying to do the heart thing on him, he kept trying to get up, and man, is that old man strong. Like, holy crap. Like, I had to kind of like push him down, like my grandma tried to push him down when he was fainting here, because he's scared. He doesn't know what's going on, and all you want to do is be like, oh, it's okay. Like, I fainted, and I know exactly how it feels. Like, if anybody else in here knows how it feels to faint and then come to and not have your things come together, I mean, it's scary. Like, when I fainted, when I had my blood drawn, basically what you go through is all your systems shut down one by one, and then they reboot back up like a computer, okay? So when I fainted, your muscles go, and then I forgot now how it is, and then your eyes go. Well, your eyes go first. You black out, and then your muscles go, and you like, bleh, and then your voice goes and stuff, and then like when your body is on the floor and you're rebooting back up, it goes the reverse way. So your sense of smell comes back online, your eyes come back online with your audio, and then your muscles start coming back online, and your speech is the last thing. Hey, Barbara. Your speech is the last thing to come back online. So when I'm laying on the floor and I feel great because it felt like I had the best sleep of my life, and I go, and my grandma's like, are you okay? And I go to speak like I am now and say, yeah, I'm fine, I feel awesome. All that comes out is, and then you're like, holy shit, why can't I talk? And then all of a sudden the fear comes in. So that's kind of like how he was in the hospital, because he's like, and you can't understand what he's saying because parts of the brain aren't working together and it's not getting enough whatever, maybe electroshocks or things. I mean, that could be a problem too, because if it was just the heart and the electroness of the heart, I think he would have been able to speak with us normally, like I am here. But because I mean, even if he's having Alzheimer's, he'd still be able to speak like this. Hey, Elizabeth. But he wasn't. He was kind of garbling, and he didn't really, you know, like this, kind of like when you have a stroke or something. So he might have also had a stroke. We don't know. We don't fully know exactly what's going on, but the fact that he was so out of it, and he kept thinking that he was at home, he didn't know where he was, makes me think that there's something also in the head, in the electroness in the brain, that's not syncing up with the brain and the heart. It would make sense. Like I said, he is 94, going on 95 in September. So it's just, he's lived a long life. So we just want to make sure that he's got the best quality of life he can get now going forward into the last year or so of his life. We don't know how long he has. Like I said, we're still waiting on the echocardiogram. But it's tough decisions, and it's hard. Hey, Jamie. So anyways, everybody who's jumping on now, you can catch the replay. I know I've said this like 5 times because people will jump on in you know, groups. But Gramp, I'm explaining about Gramp. I texted you all before. Nothing really new has changed except for the fact that we're not going to put the echocardiogram in because of his kidney issues now. We're still waiting on the we're not going to put the pacemaker in because of his kidney issues, and we're still waiting on the echocardiogram results. So, to go forward. But we definitely are trying to find a nursing home that would be beneficial to him. We have no idea anything about finances or prices or anything like that yet. We don't know. I mean, we're not to that point yet. And like I said, today, after my brother goes in there, they're going to call him with what they find out on the test and then go from there. We'd love to go and visit him, but he's so out of it that it would cause him more stress, and I mean, it kind of hurts us. Thank you, Christine. Like I said, our wishes are that maybe possibly he passes in his sleep and just goes peacefully. That's all we really want, because I think the transition to a nursing home would cause more trauma and more heartache, because I think he's still somewhat sane and of sound mind in his head, but he can't really explain it. But, you know, if he knows he's going into a nursing home, he'll shut down. I know he will, because he's very, very prideful in that, and if he knows he can't come home to his wife, like I said, mom's everything to him, he'll just shut down. When mom was in the hospital, like I said earlier in the video here, basically, he just shut down. He stopped eating. He's like, because she basically did everything for him throughout the years, and they're going on their 72nd wedding anniversary. Hey, Caitlin. Woo, sorry. Good time. Hey, La. So there's a lot of crazy things happening, and we don't know how this is gonna, you know, go forward. Like I said, if he was of sound mind, he could, even if he was, I don't know, even if he was sound mind, he wouldn't want a pacemaker in, because last year he said no. So it's tough trying to figure out what's going on and doing the best that we think he would want. You know, you start thinking about, like, when you have to put a pet down, you know, and things like that. And I know this sounds morbid and stuff, and I'm sorry if it, like, offends people, but, you know, you kind of want to be like, oh, okay, I would prefer just, like, having him pass slowly and stuff if he was that bad. He's not that bad now, because he's still like, okay, whatever, so, you know, but, like, when a pet gets sick, the humane thing is to be like, okay, we're gonna put him to sleep, we're gonna not have him suffer anymore. So sometimes you think about that, you're like, well, what if we could do that? You know, when you know, they can't see, they don't know what's going on, their quality of life is crap, they're just existing, which is not a quality of life. I would not want to just exist, you know. I think New York State, or anybody, should have the option, if they so choose, to be like, no, if I'm like that and I don't know left or right or whatever and I'm suffering, then just put me to sleep and I'm good. Because I want to be on the other side where it's awesome, pretty, and I can do whatever I want, and I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, because my spirit can do everything and anything. And I'm with Source. So there's a lot of different things going on. But yeah, we're going to try to do what we can to keep him as safe and, you know, not stressed out as we can. But anyway, so I'm going to get off now for like the 10th time I've said this, because it's basically 11 o'clock in the morning and I need to go eat something. So I'll keep you guys all posted. The people who didn't catch the full thing, watch it from the beginning, listen all the way through if you want to. If not, whatever, it's all good. I'm going to post this also on my YouTube channel, update people there. I always post my videos on my YouTube channel. I've got different playlists for that as well. So if you want to catch me on my journey on how I'm dealing with life situations and things, and keeping as sane as I can be, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Jennifer Lynn Hawley at YouTube, you know, .com or whatever it is. And yeah, this will be an interesting ride. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Like I said, if I'm not on a lot, it's because I'm dealing with that, and, you know, I start my new job on Wednesday, so it's part-time, so like I can do a bunch of other stuff, but I'm trying to keep as sane as I can be. So yeah, that's about it. I will talk to you all later. All right. Oh, and for those who want to know more about the essential oils and how I've been dealing with panic attacks and things like that, to keep my own sanity, I'm going to do a separate video in my essential oils education group about that. But like I said, I have all these oils on this side, which I was going to talk about, but I decided not to today because it was just too long, that I'm using to help me deal with stressors and life. And like I said, I'm so glad I got that kit back in the day, because I'd never thought I'd have to use it now. 4 years ago, I didn't think this was going to happen, but then again, we all knew something was coming. But yeah. So I'm glad I have my arsenal of health stuff, because normal things cause me side effects and things, and I wouldn't be able to function anyway with the normal over-the-counter things. So I'm glad I found this. I'm glad I've been able to be using these right along so that my own health stays healthy, so I can function and help my grandfather out with what we have to do now and stay somewhat sane for the rest of my family. So I will talk to you all later, and I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Like I said, check me up on my YouTube channel, Jennifer Lynn Hawley. Subscribe. That way you'll get the latest new updates of what's going on. I have to upload a bunch of my videos that I'm doing now. You can catch me on my, Facebook page, and stuff like that. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, guys, I am going to get going. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, have a lovely day. Sorry to rain on your parade, guys, but, just figured you guys would like to know the updates and why I might not be on as much, or might be on and not as happy, cheery as I normally am. But, yeah. All right. Talk to you guys all later. Enjoy your, Tuesday? And, yeah. It's kind of dreary and overcast here, so I don't know where it is where you are, but I hope it's, sunny and rainbows and nice weather. But I will talk to you later. Love, light, and blessings, everybody. Namaste. Thank you for letting me vent and explain what's going on. I will see you on the flip side.